What is up, everybody? Lyle, No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. Just did a video where I basically did my review of Prime's fleet management, and specifically my relationship with my fleet manager. And the conversation I have a lot of times with people is, sometimes people will bring their issues and ask what my thoughts are with what's going on with their fleet manager. And the one thing that I will, it's one thing my wife is good for saying is, it's not what you say, it's how you say it. Now, I need to master that maybe in my personal life, but in my business life, I've always been good at that. And I think that a lot of times people can come off condescending or angry, or they have that, like, I'm going to fire my fleet manager and all that kind of stuff. And there are times when maybe I would be in the same mindset, but it's not what I say to my fleet manager, it's how I'm saying it. You know what I'm saying? So, for example, and it's all in the Prime boards. Oh, my fleet manager tried to send me this, and I'm not moving my truck for less than this many dollars a mile or whatever it is. And while I may look at that load and feel the same way, first of all, I don't look at anything singularly. To me, that's a stupid way of looking at things, whether it's just about anything in life. But let's say I'm looking at a load and the load's not paying that well. Let's say it's like really bad, because I think the last time I got a load that I thought was like really bad, instead of turning it down or going to my fleet manager and being all upset or just rejecting the load and doing all that, I just messaged him. And the way I said it had a lot more to do with what I said. So I forget what the load was. I do remember I was in Pennsylvania, because the load that I delivered was near Pittston. I got the load, saw it, and my message to my fleet manager was, I'm not very excited. I'm not very excited about this load. Can you try to find me something more satisfying on the next one? So that actually did two things. First of all, he came back and said, do you want another load? Whatever. So had I wanted another loader to take him up on that offer, I'd have done that. But what I did, being a team player, I said, no, I'm good with this load. I know you got my back. My next load literally was like 60 miles for almost $700 or $800 or something like that. And I'm not saying that maybe I wouldn't have got that load anyway. I'm just saying the way I talk to people and how I try to position myself in relation to other people is very important to me. And what I mean by that is, first of all, I don't want to be the invisible, and this could relate to when I was in mortgages, either on the sales side or the management side. I don't want to be invisible. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't want to be the person that's always causing any problems or anything like that, but I want to be known. You know what I'm saying? Being known, it could be helpful or not, who knows, but being known is worth something. You know what I'm saying? If you're just unknown, or you just are that number, then I think that could put you in some bad situations. And I looked at it, I kind of always try to relate back to my other business, because that's kind of how I try to relate to things. There were times when I was in management and I'd have somebody come to me and want me to do a deal, but I can't do the deal because I don't have time, because I'm managing or whatever. So I got to give that loan to somebody. Now, I'm not going to give that loan to somebody that's always being an asshole to me, right? And somebody that's always flying under the radar probably won't get the loan because they're always under the radar. So somebody that's made themselves known, made themselves valuable, whatever. I mean, you can be valuable without being noticed, but being noticed may have been why I gave that loan to that person. Now, you can call that right, wrong, whatever. It's just human nature to do that. So, sometimes I hear the way people talk to their fleet managers, and they could be right. They could be, everything they're saying might be true, but the way they're saying it, like, you will never ever hear me just decline a load and just decline it. There's going to be a way that I phrase it that is a little bit deeper than me just declining a load. I guess that was a perfect example. I'm really not that excited about this load. You know, is there anything else that you have? You know, I'm good with, I'm fine with this one if you don't have anything else, but if you have something else, I'd prefer it. So I'm not just declining the load. You know, if it's a load that I definitely don't want, like there are just certain places I just, even worse than like New Jersey, that I just don't want to go. Like you start hitting me with like Sparks, Nevada or Reno or something like that, I might take a firmer stance on that, but I'm still not just gonna decline the load. I'm never gonna, you know, get in that position where anything becomes confrontational. You know, a lot of people have so much bark, and you see it a lot in these Facebook groups. Oh, I fired my, or I would fire my fleet manager, or do all this stuff. If you are always complaining about some shit, complaining is just another day. You know what I'm saying? So if I ever get to a point where things get a little serious about anything, people know that it's serious for a reason. Not because I've been, you know, the big bad wolf blowing up every single time something happens. You know, you got to pick your spots. And I think there's too many people out here that everything that happens is their spot. You know what I'm saying? Now, I'm not saying that you can't be successful doing that, but in all reality, you cannot always be. You just gotta, in my opinion, you have to save some shit for when you really need it. You know what I'm saying? You're out there using up all your ammo on some little shit, and then when some big stuff happens, now you're out of ammo. You know what I'm saying? So the only time I can really remember really kind of getting a little sideways with my fleet manager was when I was just in training, and I needed a break. I needed to get this guy home. We were already over our 30,000 miles, and I was just having a bad feeling. Like sometimes you get a premonition, and I was having that, and it had nothing to do with my drive or anything like that, but it was just like I felt I just had to, like, the training had to be done and I had to go home. And I was getting a load that, and I'm not gonna even get upset about my fleet manager for this, and this isn't the point of this conversation, but I can't even get mad at him for trying to send me to New Jersey with all the money that load was paying. But we needed to get back here for some reason, then get him back home or whatever it was. And you know, we kind of had a conversation about that, and I kind of raised my voice in that, not because I was upset with him, but just my frustration was like to that point. And that's very rare, but when it happens, people know that I'm absolutely serious about what's going on. So think about how you act or how you relate to things. You know, I think back to when I was in the mortgage industry. If I'm dealing with a realtor and they come to me and they give me a client that's, you know, a little rough around the edges as far as credit or income or whatever the situation might be, you know, it's all too common for people to just call the client, tell them they're not approved, and then call the realtor and say, couldn't get them handled. A better way to approach it, the way I did it, was say, you know, we're not able to move on this right now. We have a few obstacles we need to overcome before we can start moving forward. And then kind of take that approach. Now, two reasons I did that. First of all, I didn't want to piss off the realtor and just turn down one of their people. I always wanted to phrase things in a way to make things a little bit easier to swallow. And obviously not disrespect the client, but you get the point. It's not what you say, it's how you say it. So you're not alienating the realtor. things like that. I kind of lost track of things because this guy almost hit this damn trash can up here. But think about how you phrase things, and it comes a little bit more natural to me just because I did come out of a different field. So it goes back to what I've said on numerous occasions. You know, people always complain about being a number in the trucking industry, and then they do everything they can to make themselves a number. My goal, once I first got into, once I got with people that I knew could affect me, was to take that relationship from being a transactional relationship to being a personal relationship. That could be my payroll. That could be my logs. That could be my fleet manager. Those would be the main three. But I've never tried to relate to anybody in a way that, how can I explain it? Like we weren't in this together. And I mean, this is a little bit of a secret, and I'm not really, sometimes the way that you think about this, you're doing a good job. First of all, by saying this, let's just say I'm saying it to my fleet manager. That would be a perfect example. You're doing a good job. Now, I would never look at myself above my fleet manager, but generally, if you want to act like you're a boss and have the ability to fire somebody and do stuff like that, then you need to relate to people like you are actually a boss. And that's not the point of this. I'm not trying to put myself above my fleet manager, but generally people are only used to hearing they're doing a good job from somebody that is above them. So I tell my fleet manager, you're doing a good job. I tell my logs person, you're doing a great job. I tell them when they give me a good load, I tell them they're giving me a good load. Much appreciated. I love it. You know what I'm saying? Why I love it. This is exactly where this is exactly where I like to run. You might, I haven't said this, but I might use it. You read minds, whatever it is. People want to be validated, regardless of what anybody says. Your logs lady is not sitting in there all day long and not gonna appreciate somebody validating her rather than just throwing their problems on her. You know what I'm saying? It could be just stupid. If I call, I'm having a real conversation, but I could end up joking around. Is the cover up worse than the crime? Whatever. Just anything that kind of, I wish I could explain what I'm trying to. If I was having this conversation one-on-one, it'd be a lot easier than just talking into this camera. But a good example of it is this, and it's not that I deal with payroll that much, but since I know that there's certain days when the payroll person might have a little bit more time, I might call and have some questions about, for example, I've had some recent questions about paying out the person that's going to be driving my truck, things like that. And then when that's over with, we're going to be talking about other stuff outside of trucking. There was that little thing that they used to always say in the business I came from: people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You know what I'm saying? And I think that a lot of people look at this so transactional that they forget that human nature is called human nature for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if this is how it works or not, but if there is human element that comes into this, if you have two trucks in the same area and there's a good load, and there's like truck A over here that's, either unnoticed or always making things complicated or turning down a bunch of loads for whatever reason, and then and I'm not saying don't turn down loads, because sometimes you got to turn down loads just to let them know you'll turn down loads. But you have truck B over here that's always considerate, respectful. shows their appreciation, all that kind of stuff. And there's that load that comes, and somebody needs to choose what load or what truck gets that load. You cannot tell me that if it's not an automated situation and there is some human element that goes into that choice, B is gonna get the load. So I'm not saying that everything that I'm saying works or anything like that. I'm saying none of this shit hurts. Being overly respectful does not hurt. Trying to bring a human element into this doesn't hurt. But trying to, have more bark than bite and try to act like, you are in charge of things and stuff like that, to me, I just don't see how that is beneficial in the long run. Now, I could be wrong, but I'm a don't try to fix it type person, and it's been working for me. And getting back to the payroll person, it had been a while since we'd spoke, and like I said, we would talk about stuff outside of trucking. It could be her family life, my family life, whatever it is. But it had been a while since I call in. So I call and she answers the phone like it's a regular thing. Throw in my truck number 20, I can't even remember my truck number. 271027. Oh, hey, what's up? You know what I'm saying? Reverts back to, oh yeah, this is the guy that, cared about me outside of what I could do for them. Just change it up a little bit. I kind of am rambling more than I want to ramble, and I don't know if I made the point I'm trying to make, but really my main point is it's not what you say, it's how you say it. And that's about it. Maybe I should start writing some stuff down a little bit more so I'm a little bit more focused on what I'm trying to do. But that's it, man. I think I'm going to come back here, maybe go to sleep for an hour and a half, something like that, see if these guys want to bring in this load. If not, I'll rock it out tonight. But I would like to at least move it an hour just to save me an hour of driving. Anyway, as always, I appreciate you guys stopping by No Hippie Trucking and Transportation. Comment, subscribe, and I'm out.